In-state foes are set to take center stage in Muncie, Indiana. Valparaiso and Ball State. It's right here on Watch ESPN. Two in-state rivals clash in Muncie after respective battles with Power 5 teams. To open up the week, it's Valparaiso and Ball State on Watch ESPN from Worthen Arena. Ball State is fresh off one of its biggest wins in program history against number 8 ranked Notre Dame. It was on the road on Tuesday. Matt Farrell of Notre Dame hit the game-tying shot with under 5 seconds, but Taylor Persons of Ball State came back three-pointer with 1 second left to give Ball State one of its biggest wins in program history. And with all of that, we welcome you courtside. Matt Craig alongside I'm Mick Tidrow. Well, Matt, Ball State's also won 4 straight games. Valparaiso comes off a tough 30-point loss against Purdue.
They're going to have a really hard time doing that tonight against Valparaiso.
And one of the best rebounders for Ball State is Taylor Persons, although he does score 16 points per game.
Yeah, he's the engine for the Ball State offense, penetrating into the defense and then making good decisions, either scoring the ball or passing it. He has a really nice pull-up game, which is going to be important going against the 7-footers that Valpo has. And then, of course, he's not afraid of the big moments and taking the big shots right here against Notre Dame. That's one of the biggest shots in program history right there. He also had a basket to put them ahead against Dayton in the first game of the season. He is really important for this team.
No Tavon Walker for Valparaiso, so they hand the keys over to Bakari Evelyn.
Yeah, with no Tavon Walker, this is the guy that needs to play well for Valparaiso to win this game. He'll be running the point guard. He's excellent driving to the rim, and he's also going to have to set up his teammates.
Valparaiso 8-1 on the season. Ball State 5-4. Rely on these two players each. Taylor Persons just over 16 points per game, 35% from downtown, including that big three-pointer against the number 8 ranked team in the country, Notre Dame. Both teams need these guys to play well tonight. We've got ourselves a good one inside Worthen Arena in Muncie, Indiana. Let's take a look at Valparaiso's starting 5 here tonight. And a junior, Joe Burton, a transfer from Nebraska. Ball State starts off with Jontrell Walker and Taylor Persons at the 2 guard positions. Also 4.5 assists here in his junior campaign. Let's send it down to John. Valparaiso 8-1 on the season. Matt Loddick in his second season, 32-10 record. Has been able to do everything at Valparaiso since joining the head coaching staff, 24-9 last year. And on the other end, 5th-year head coach for Ball State, James Whitford. 20 wins the past 2 seasons, 59-79 in his 4+ seasons in Muncie. Grabs his board, throws up the shot and one.
Great pass from Sean Sellers, and then the great second effort from Kyle Mallers to grab his own board, as you can see here, and then a really strong move. He knows he has a smaller defender on him, and he finishes with the left hand on the right side. That is not your first option, but pulls it out and gets the and one.
Back inside Worthen Arena on the campus of Ball State University. We're just moments away from rotation 1 beginning Central Michigan and Ball State today in a MAC West battle. You're looking at 33rd-year head coach Jerry Reigard, a 9-time coach of the year in the MAC. He's led Central Michigan to 15 MAC championships in his 33 years, responsible for completely turning around the program when he inherited it 33 years ago. And for Ball State, there's Joanna Salim, 4th year as the head coach of Ball State. Last year, she led the Cardinals to a 2nd-place finish just behind Eastern Michigan in the MAC championships that was in this building right here in Worthen Arena.
Well, I think that there's more parity, and we're certainly not overlooking this meet. This is going to be, I think, a nail-biter. It's going to come down to the last few routines for each team. And so we're just optimistic that we've been making strides each meet, and we're hoping to continue that.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Jack, for that. There's Jerry Reigard again, a MAC record, 15 MAC championships, and is consistent from Shelby Arms on the vault. Courtney Campbell on the bars for Central Michigan for their first routine of the afternoon.
As you said, starting off today's competition against Central and Ball State is Courtney on the bars for Central Michigan. This is such a dynamic event for the Chippewas and really can start them out on a strong foot in today's competition.
Welcome back inside Worthen Arena in Muncie, Indiana. Ball State an entire point lead on top of Central Michigan after 1 rotation due to a shaky start from the Chippewas. Here's a look at those scores. 49.025 from Ball State, a 48.025 on the bars for Central Michigan. We'll send it down to our sideline reporter, the third member of our crew for the first time tonight, Jack Kaiser.
Noah senior Ball State gymnast Sarah Ebeyer shows focus and a smile every time she competes, but it's not always that easy, especially when she's been directly affected by something as sinister as breast cancer.
At that time, maybe I was thinking, just live, just live.
Hope that I ain't calling too late, baby. I hope you ain't closed your pretty blue eyes. Well, have you looked out your window lately? That moon's taking up half of that sky. Whoa, whoa, I'm really restless. Get you up on my, get up on your feet. 'Cause I could use a little bit of your sweet kiss, your lips all night. I don't wanna be lonely with stars all around. Need you here to help me, my lose count. I could use a little bit of you right now. I can't hear you yet. I got my wheels pulling off that highway. My headlights pointed down there in Indiana. I got your song cranked up on the radio.
Regan Lewis, track and field.
Regan Lewis holds the Ball State school record with a high jump of 1.81 meters. As a freshman, Regan was named an All-MAC second team selection.
Max Norris.
Max Norris was named the 2016 MAC Coach of the Year. After 22 wins in 2016, Norris led Ball State to their first NCAA tournament berth in program history.
Obviously, thanks for everyone who voted for me, and I would love to thank the coaches, head and assistant in this athletic department. You guys are a great help to me. Obviously, I'd love to thank Dr. Karen Lee, Mark Sandy.
Welcome into the Cardinal Creek Tennis Center for the first match of the Mid-American Conference Tournament. The number 4 seed Miami Redhawks versus the number 5 Northern Illinois Huskies. And now taking a look at the Mid-American Conference Tournament. Here is the first match today, starting at winners will take on Ball State and Akron. Hello and welcome inside. My name is Corey Stace alongside Marty Rice, a Hall of Fame player for the Ball State men's tennis team. And Marty, it's not only cold out here for us broadcasters, but the players have to deal with these conditions too. How does that affect today?
Yes, certainly. They've come up against these conditions earlier in the year. I don't see this being a problem as we sit here today. There's really little wind, so they've been out here for an hour, 15 hour, and 20 minutes.
And both of these teams have their reasons to win this whole thing. Miami in particular, they have lost 3 matches this season, all 3 to the top 3 seeds in the tournament right now, and all 3 only by 1 point in those matches. And they had a death on the team earlier this season, but it seems like they're hitting their stride, a big underdog to win this whole tournament.
Certainly they're playing inspired tennis right now. Like you said, they've lost 3 matches, 4-3. Last match on, they're a very impressive group, great ball strikers, very talented. Look for them to do some really damage in this tournament.
And now for Northern Illinois, in a bit of a different circumstance. This is their first Mid-American Conference tournament since 2012, so that makes every single player on this team a newcomer into this tournament. How do they respond to this environment?
Yeah, they can just come out and play loose, Corey. They have nothing to lose. Just go out, strike the ball, play hard, play inspired tennis. You know, when they played Miami earlier in the year, they were in the doubles point. They were up 5-2 last match on in the doubles. Should have won that. They need to come out, play really strong in doubles, and get some production from their 4, 5, and 6 player, and they can compete.
To hear more about Northern Illinois, we'll toss to our sideline reporter Matt Craig with head coach Tanya Mahefu.
I'm here with Northern Illinois head coach Tanya Mahefu.
They call it the crowning glory of Ball State's campus. A look at Schaefer Tower here in Muncie. Ball State, Chicago State in women's hoops. Up next. Welcome courtside, everybody. Connor Onion with Corey Stace. Corey, this is a gym in Worthen Arena that's been very kind to Ball State over the past couple seasons. A couple of marquee players in this matchup here tonight, starting with Ball State's Mariah Monaco.
Mariah Monaco has had to increase her productivity this season with the loss of Natalie Fontaine, the Ball State all-time leading scorer to graduation last season. Mariah Monaco has increased that productivity, and she can do it both on down low and on the outside with her three-point game.
And for Chicago State, Shatoya Sanders is as prolific as a scorer as they come.
Well, Shatoya Sanders had a career-high 38 points against a similar opponent to Ball State in Northern Illinois, a fellow MAC opponent. She did that a couple weeks ago. She's going to be need to be a key contributor tonight. She has the athleticism to get around Renee Bennett, who probably will be matched up against her.
With the two stars for both of these teams, they also have some nice pieces around them, especially with some experience.
Yeah, I think both of these teams should come into tonight and this season overall expecting big things with the returning starters that they have. Although Chicago State had the slow 0-6 start, they still need to be confident coming into Worthen.
Let's take a look at the MIVA standings. Ohio State sits in the 1 spot. Loyola just ahead of Ball State by a game. Ball State holds the tiebreaker in the 3rd spot, and Lewis in the number 4 seed. Hello, everyone. Glad to have you along with us. Jack Kaiser alongside. I'm Mick Tidrow. Well, Jack, Ohio State's locked up that number 1 seed in the MIVA tournament. Ball State with the victory, however, can clinch a top 3 spot.
It's been all Buckeyes.
Nicholas Zerzan leading that charge.
He's been the most effective player in college volleyball the last 2 years, as you said, Mick. As you said, 2 years in a row winning National Player of the Year. Zerzan's back for his senior season, trying to lead the Bucks to a 3rd straight title.
On the other end of the front line of Ball State, it's sophomore Matt Shevs.
Magnificent. Best word to describe Shev's performance last night against McKendree. 14 kills, 10 digs, and 3 sets. He found his rhythm attacking from the right side. Not so great against Ohio State last time out in February. Just 3 sets played, 6 kills, and a sub-200 hit percentage. If Ball State hopes to beat the Bucks tonight, they'll need Shevs to bring his A game.
It's Zerzan and Shevs trying to respectively lead their clubs to a victory today. It's senior day for Ball State. Last regular season matchup, these two have been magnificent all season long. Let's send it down to the 3rd member of our broadcast crew, Jaron Matheny, who's with both head coaches.
Thanks, guys. Coaches, your two teams, a storied history between the two of you, comes to fruition tonight here in Muncie. What does this rivalry mean to you guys?
There is a lot of history dating back to when our league, when I was playing for Ball State, it was Ohio State, Ball State, and IPFW. That was the league.
It's game 2 of today's doubleheader between Ball State and Central Michigan. All tied up at 1-1. We've got a rubber match on ESPN+. Welcome into the broadcast booth with John Gordon. I'm Jack Kaiser. John, big win for Ball State last game, but overall in this series, pitching's been the star of the show.
Well, Central Michigan won the first match.
It all resulted in Ball State's first win over Central Michigan since 2016.
Hey, you look at these highlights from last game, and again, a 2-1 victory this time for Ball State. And you look how it happened. The errors. You see the early error from Hannah on the mound. She throws the first and the underthrow, and then the error at shortstop for Central Michigan, and 2 quick runs for Ball State, and that was in the 2nd inning. And then you just can see them continue the hitting and putting on runs. They get 2 in the 2nd, and then in the 4th inning, that's when Central Michigan applied some pressure. Rothwell had to come into the game a lot earlier than what she wanted to. He came in, walked a batter. That run came in. 2-1 was the score. Chippewas. You really talk about you looking at this pitching matchup with